What's up, folks? Welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm joined once again with the one and only Polny. Polny, thank you for joining me, man. I reached out to you and said, hey, I've seen on about 5 or 6 different posts this about a volcano that could be set to erupt very soon in America. Now, this is kind of, for most people, this is kind of scary, but for me, I'm looking at it. It says breaking scientists are warning that America's most dangerous volcano, Mount Rainier, could unleash a catastrophic volcanic mudflow capable of devastating communities and killing up to 60,000 people within minutes. So mudflow, I don't know, volcano. To me, I'm looking at this, putting the pieces together. So you know what? I better get Polny on here because you've talked about this type of eruption coming, and they're saying that this could be any day now. To be honest with you, they're not giving an exact, precise time, but they're saying hey, any day this stuff could erupt. And things can get crazy. And I remember when that volcano erupted in Europe somewhere and how it stopped, it hit the jet stream. The ash hit the jet stream, and it was a no-go for flying for like weeks. And I remember that like yesterday. I'm sure a lot of my audience remember that as well. It was crazy. So when something like this happens, especially here in America, this could offset everything and kill a lot of people. There could be a lot of casualties here. Polny, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, Nino, I got to say, you believe it or not, you actually hear very well from God, because I haven't reached out to you in a while just because I've been very busy. And lo and behold, this is a very important weekend coming up. And out of the blue, I get a text from Nino Friday evening hey, about this volcano. So I'm telling you, God is using you, and your timing is immaculate. The only way you have immaculate timing is you're listening, okay? So this is a very important time point. So thank you for reaching out. But I was just sitting there working all day, and boom, a text from you, and literally about probably the best thing he could have sent me on about this volcano, okay? Now, there's so many points we want to address about this volcano, but number one is this stems back to 2017. Remember the eclipse that came in? Guess where it came in? Right where Mount Rainier is.
You're kidding me.
Oh yeah. That was the entry point, right? I believe it even went over top of Mount Rainier.
Really? All right, Bo. Let's talk about the end of the world here, man. Is it the end of the world? I don't know. What is this?
Okay, actually, it's a great point you bring up, and I want to be very clear here. It's the end of the Babylonian control system.
I mean, is it any coincidence this is lining up with Trump signing the money?
No, it actually has everything to do with Trump rededicating America to God. I'm going to repeat that. It's everything to do with Trump rededicating America to God. That was the essence of why this is about to happen. And actually, the prophetic thing stated it was the ones we've talked about this in your show before about the immutable covenant. That was the Kim Clement immutable covenant that the founding fathers made.
For many that have cried out, and said, God will destroy this nation. The Spirit says, may I remind you, the covenant that I made with this nation is immutable, is unchangeable. Do not forget the antiquity of the covenant that I made with this nation. Yes, they will be judged for the evil that they do, but can I take away a blessing that I have already imposed upon them? That I created and spoke before the world began, that I created and spoke over this nation to feed the world, to heal the earth. God says, yes, judgment will come, but it shall not come at this time in the fashion that they have spoken. They have said, there shall be a crash and America shall be crippled. God said, not at this time, not at this time, for I have raised you up for a season. And there shall be 7 years where I will take you out of your besiegement. You have been besieged for 7 years, America. You have been surrounded by your internal enemies. Haters of America have stood up. And then they have said, there are those in the church that are anti-Israel. I say to you that there are many, but there are many more that are in the church that are anti-America and anti what I am going to do in this nation. I will give you a president that shall bring some ease to your debt challenges, and I will take the wealth of the wicked and for a season transfer it into the hands of the righteous, and those who have given and poured poured out their blessing into my land and to my people, says the Lord.
And that was played on your show here probably at least 5 times that I've done podcasts with you, okay? And that was the essence of the immutable covenant. And now that Trump has rededicated America, now this is important, if you think about this, right? God can't force you to do anything. He can't, because of what you have is free will. Okay, I have free will. We all have free will. The devil's got free will. So this is all about the free will concept, right? And so even though, let's say God, he made so America, the beautiful, the founding fathers dedicated America to God, the greatest nation in the world. But then what happened was, it was 1973. It was Roe v. Wade where we actually made a blood covenant. That was a sealing. That was a seal of the covenant made with evil. And the point I'm saying here about the free will, even though God might like he wants, he's a God of love and justice, right? And he wants to come back to America. No one's allowed to come into your house, Nino, because you're the head of the house, and no one's allowed
to invite them in.
Yes, exactly. Unless you invite them in. Whether
That's
it's good or evil.
I'm a firm believer in the vampire thing. I think there's a lot to be learned from that. When you allow someone to come in, that kind of force to come into your house, you invite them in, then they're allowed to do whatever they want to you and your family.
Thank you. That's exactly what Trump just did. He allowed God to come back to America. Okay. See, so it's about the free will choice. See, so who are the ones that control the world? They're actually, we've talked about it. They're Nephilim possessed demonic spirits that have entered people that bowed down and said, yes, make me, they said, yes, I want to be a king on the earth. Okay. And so you've got people in political positions, forever politicians. Okay. You've got people in Hollywood. You got people all over the globe that run the world, and they have secret handshakes. Okay. This is the fraternity thing that goes around the world. And this is that, you've interviewed people about how this whole world is controlled by a secret, group of people. Okay. And so who are they? Who's the father of the group of people? It's in Revelation 2 verse 9, the devil. Okay. So this ties in specifically with the demonic entities that have entered people, like you said, and the house is the same thing. A devil can't come into your house, Nino, unless you invite him. You start playing with Ouija boards. Hey, the devil's coming right in. You see?
I still can't believe we were allowed to play that crap when we were kids, man. I mean, just to show you what growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, it was never in a million years would you let anyone play with a Ouija board for fun.
I remember that. But when did it start? All of that started after Roe v. Wade became law. You see, we've talked about this before. It all came down to the CIA. It was Project Bluebeam or Project Looking Glass, whatever it was. But they were doing that astral projection.
After the attack of 9/11, President George W. Bush did what every U.S. president can do during a time of crisis and national emergency. He signed an executive order for a special circumstance to bring people into government that had a special skill or knowledge specific to that emergency. So I was invited to come in. It had to be authorized by the president, by the director of the CIA, who was George Tenet at the time, by the director of the FBI, who was Robert Mueller, and also by the Attorney General of the United States, John Ashcroft. So I want to share with you the most important thing I feel like the Lord's given me is to give you a timeline of when darkness got its greatest advantage in America. There was a moment. In the 1950s and 1960s, the Soviets had begun to deal with occultic practices called remote viewing and astral projection techniques. And they got so good at it that their operators, their agents, could literally astral project themselves from Moscow to Washington, D.C., and stand behind and overlook the shoulders of generals and read classified information, go back into their bodies and report word for word what they read to their superiors. This began to happen in the mid-50s all the way through the 60s. We became aware of a hemorrhaging of intelligence that was falling into the hands of the Soviets. You know what we did? We did what the U.S. government often does. Whatever the Russians can do, we can do better. And so in the late 60s, we began the same countermeasure program to use against the Soviets under the code name Project Stargate. Project Stargate was a U.S. attempt to outdo the Soviets using astral projection remote viewing techniques for the purpose of intelligence gathering. Stargate ran under the program name Project Stargate and also ran under other program names called Project Grill Flame, Project Sunstreak, Project Looking Glass. But all of these programs were using satanic techniques by psychics that our government and your taxpayer dollars paid for. The CIA was the lead agency on the program in the beginning. And what they would do is they would bring these people who were psychics, occultists, into this room, swore them under oath of secrecy, and they would conjure up demonic powers, which was necessary in order to operate in these remote view astral projection techniques. What these guys would do, they were given some hard intelligence, they would be given certain information, and then they would be commissioned to go in the spirit world to fill in the blanks and to get all the information they could supernaturally. They put them in seats or chairs that looked like dental chairs with straps, and they strapped them in. The reason they did that is because when these operators would go into the spirit world, they would literally come into face-to-face contact with demon power that were horrific and terrifying. Our government paid occultists to go into the spirit world to come in contact with demons. I said that opened a massive gate over America. One day, I'm being escorted by the guy now in the suit and tie, and on the way, we have a lot of time to talk. And so I'm asking a guy who's part of one of the two agencies that hosted and operated Project Stargate. I said, do you know about it? He said, do I know about it? I was the official for the CIA that operated it. He was the lead manager for the lead agency that operated Project Stargate. Now, here's what he said. He said, all the operators were seeing these entities in the spirit world, but none of us in the room could see them but the operators that were strapped in the chairs. But something changed in December of 1972. One of those demonic powers, principalities, physically manifested in the room. And not some apparition of some misty kind of, am I seeing this or not? No, as real as you and I are, this demonic entity, a principality, a ruling principality in the earth, manifests in front of everybody and scared the pants off of everybody in the room. And this thing, he said, was 8 to 9 feet tall. Years later, he's still trembling over the experience. Here's what he said. He said, we did a deal with that principality. He said, we made a covenant with that principality that if it would give us an advantage over the Russians and give us more power for remote viewing, astral projection techniques for intelligence gathering purposes, we would give that principality rights over America. Things began to get dark in America at that point. You know what the next thing that happened in America was? Just 1 month later, January the 22nd, 1973, abortion was legalized in America through the decision of Roe versus Wade. 1 month after the covenant was made with this principality of darkness. You see, because all covenants have to be activated by blood sacrifice. That's why Jesus had to go to the cross. He had to shed that blood because that blood became the most powerful covenant. So all this is to say, we're dealing with a covenant that darkness made.
And then a massive demon came in with the CIA, and they ended up making this deal with the demon. People make this think this is crazy, but this happened. Okay, I've shown the video on your show before. Okay, and this one then about 2 months later was the blood covenant, was the Roe v. Wade became law, and that's like. The deal was made, okay, so the official thing was the blood covenant of Roe v. Wade. And now that we've overturned Roe v. Wade, we've said it before, now God is with us. But even though God is with us, he's not allowed to come into our house. What's our house? America, unless the head of your, like, you're the head of your household. So the head of America has to ask God to come back to America. This is so important. People need to understand. They can poop all they want.
Too, Bo, is that as Trump is bringing God back into America, Peter Thiel is inviting demonic entities into AI. Absolutely. And what's happening right now? Data centers are popping up all over like a hostile takeover.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly. And that's why I've said before, Trump can't fix this. Okay. Trump cannot fix this. God can. And that's the point, because it's like chessboard, right? Every great move, Trump makes some awesome moves, but then he's dealing with, a global syndicate of people making their moves, right? So it's a constant battle. Every great thing Trump does, another thing they do. Like we've talked about this, how many, moves Trump makes and then how many counter moves they make. Like you just said, right? It's a counter move to what they're trying to do. So what are they trying to do? Bring on their system of worldwide control. And God is not going to let it happen. Number one is why? Because of the covenant. That's the only reason. But this is the thing that had to happen. The head of the House of America, Trump, needed to invite God into the House of America. Okay, just like you're sitting in your house right now, or wherever you're sitting, in that location, to have someone come in, you have to welcome them in. Just like you talked about vampires, right? Those people who are demonically possessed welcomed it in. They asked for it. Okay, it's all about ask and ye shall receive. Very important. And so this comes down to specifically, the covenant. I'm going to talk about covenant here because this is so important. You want to pop this slide on here, and this is what happened on May 17th, the rededication of America. Okay, but this is the crazy part. Okay, this event happened on the 17th. We're heading into this weekend, May 31. all of these signs we've seen in our heavens that God orchestrated are all pointing to a very important marker here is the end of this month, the last day, particularly this Sunday onwards. Now, I'm going to show why. If this is what happened, this is what should happen to America. There was massive bloodshed. They were killing Christians, killing everybody. The citizens decided that this is nuts, so we got to stop this. And then the head of Fiji, the prime minister, came together with the citizens. Guess what they had on May 15 in the year 2005? Guess what they had, Nino? A national day of prayer. What do we have on the 17th? A national day of prayer. So you're asking what happens? What should we expect? Within 24 hours, the waters were supernaturally filled. Fish swarmed the nets like never before. We caught so many fish, our net began to tear. Barren fields became abundant. Fruit trees that stopped producing fruit suddenly began producing fruit. And the harvest was unusually huge right after this event happened. And then the villages, the sickness had left the people. Streams and waters were healed. Families were restored. Peace, joy, and unity filled the villages. The prime minister rededicated Fiji to God, and that's what happened. So what my point is, we are at a very important time point right here. This is...
Well, that's been done. I mean, so maybe the volcano won't erupt.
That's a great question, and I'm going to...
Well, I mean, he did the prayer, national prayer. He invited God back in. I mean, maybe God will show mercy.
What is mercy? Let that sink in. What is mercy? Mercy on who? On the church. Should he show mercy to those that have caused havoc in this world in the past 6 years, Nino? Or should he bring vengeance? Because if he brings vengeance, he's going to...
I mean, we need to rid the earth of these scum. I'm not going to... I mean, that's got to go. They got to go.
That's
so is that the mercy you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a worldwide wrecking ball that's coming, okay? God's about to bring a worldwide wrecking ball. And it's supposed to start anytime after this coming weekend. And I'll show you why in a second. Okay, again, I'm just showing, we've been waiting for, how many podcasts have we done? You know, I'm going to go right on the record here. How many podcasts have we been waiting for the angel of death who hasn't shown up yet? Okay, we've been waiting for an act of God and we haven't seen it yet. But what have I said on every podcast this past year with you? We haven't seen the angel of death. Okay, so that's true. Everyone can scoff all they want, okay? But I did say something very specific about what's going to happen.
I mean, you're in a tough...
I know I am, because I'm waiting on God. Yeah, no, I'm literally waiting on 24 hours. An act of God is what I'm waiting for, okay? I've been waiting for an act of God, and it's supposed to happen before this 4th of July, but this is what the Lord showed me, and everybody who's... Feel free to scoff. You're more than welcome to.
They're going to be kicking you in the nuts pretty.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I
they're going to be going hard on you right now, buddy.
No, and I appreciate that because why? Because I will be proven 1,000% right, and everybody who's come against will be proven 1,000% wrong. I will be proven 1,000% right, and everybody who's come against will be proven 1,000% wrong, because everybody wants, you know what? They want freedom. Okay, it's like everybody wants to throw stones, but at the same time, they want freedom. Everybody wants to see Bitcoin explode and XRP explode, but yet they want to throw stones. Everybody wants to see silver explode, but they love throwing stones. The only way you're going to see XRP, the only way you're going to see silver, the only way you're going to see anything that you're holding in your hands explode is an act of God, which I am waiting for and have been prophesying that's going to happen. And so here is the scripture, and you know, it's Isaiah 61. And you know, I've said this before, the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance. Okay, so the year of the Lord's favor started when? Last 4th of July. It ends this 4th of July, which means that in this year, all that we're waiting for is a 24-hour day of vengeance. A day of vengeance is where God shows in and literally changes everything. Okay. And why I'm saying this is important because, you know, you're saying with regard to America. Understand, if we don't get God to show, like if God doesn't show up, these globalists are not going to stop, Nino.
No, they're not stopping, and people don't really need to understand. This is David and Goliath.
Yes.
Like, even though we're winning, right? We're playing a masterful game of chess, and I keep having to use that analogy, but it's true.
Yeah, it is.
It is a masterful game of chess, but it's because we know their playbook, we know their moves, and they're going to keep going forward.
And Trump is a master chess player, but let me ask you a question, and you're going to love this. Who wrote the game of chess?
God.
That's right. Okay. You see, so God is using Trump to move the pieces perfectly. So Trump is winning in the chess game, and all we need is a last strike where God just wipes out the chessboard. Okay. And that is the move of God that we're waiting for. Okay. So
see, I believe this. I believe this is going to happen. I got
a video for you. It's going to blow your mind, you know.
Go for it.
but see, we're on the same page. You're doing great interviews with people, all exposing things. But the analogy of the chessboard is beautiful because chess is an incredible game. It's a masterful game, and Trump is the master of it. But God wrote the game, okay? And what's going to happen is God comes in and just wipes out the chessboard, and then it's and he brings on a new chessboard. Okay, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a start over. So
what happens to all the data centers?
Okay, well, all of this is going to come to a head because remember the angel of death that we've talked about is God's going to remove these people doing all this stuff, Nino. Okay, so it's the Nephilim spirit that right now there's a lot of demonic on this world. Okay, but the Nephilim run the Federal Reserve, run the data centers, I'm sure, and run all the main things right now that we're all pissed about, okay, that are causing all this, and you're basically bringing to light. So when you remove the Nephilim spirit, they lose for a season. They get what's called a mortal wound. And a mortal wound, like when you go hunting, it's a death blow, okay? So the mortal wound, if actually jump out of this for a second, I want to get a full screen here. So I want to explain. The mortal wound is when you go hunting. And if you shoot a deer, or whatever animal you shoot, but you don't hit let's go to just me and you, Nino.
Oh.
So if you go hunting and you shoot an animal, and I know you'll get this, and all your viewers will get this. If you shoot an animal and you don't hit it in the head or the heart, but you hit it like, in a vital area, but they're not, like in the arm or something, but they're not dead, and they take off.
And then adrenaline gets going.
Right. And so even if you don't find the animal, eventually what happens to that animal? It
dies.
It dies. But during that time frame, it's on a rampage to go after whoever shot it. It gets nuts, okay? It gets crazy, but it's also known as it's dying. So what's about to happen? You say, no, the end of the world? No, the end of Babylon Inc. Okay, America Incorporated. It's the Babylonian control system that runs the world, okay, is about to have a mortal wound, a death blow, but not a kill shot, okay? Because you understand, so it's going to take 4 months. And remember the prophecies of Kim Clement, beginning a very strange thing will happen in September, moving into the fall of kings, fall of princes, watch and see. So what happens is the mortal wound happens right here.
So I would imagine it's going to be a pretty bumpy ride from June on out.
Yeah, you're right. So I'm going to show this. I'm going to show this one slide, and then we're going to get to the prophecy. Now, this is a new prophecy of about 3 days ago. Oh, wait till you hear this prophecy. This is crazy. Okay, but this is going to happen. But before we get to the prophecy, pop the screen on. I want to show the importance of this weekend. So I'm going to ask a question here to all of your viewers. Okay, so the Revelation 12 sign occurred on September 23rd, 2017. Okay, so here's the Revelation 12 sign, September 23rd, 2017. It represents Virgo in the heavens giving birth. Okay, and if you add 8 years, 8 months, and 8 days, it's this Sunday, May 31. Okay, now why that important? Because it's 888, which is the name of Jesus in Greek. Okay, let that sink in. Number 2 is, if you look at the eclipses, the blood moon of March 3rd, and there's another blood moon on August 28th, 2026. If you do the time pattern and you cut it exactly in half, Nino, between the 2 blood moons, it's this Sunday, May 31. This Sunday is Pentecost on the Julian calendar, May 31. Remember, we talked about Fiji? It happened on Pentecost, okay? And understand that on the true calendar, the Julian calendar was a calendar, man's calendar, when Jesus was on the earth. So this is the real deal. This is the real Pentecost right here. So Pentecost is this weekend. Those are 3 items. The next thing that makes you go, things that make you go, So ask yourself here, the Great North American Eclipse, 4 sevens, 777 days plus an additional 7 days is this weekend, May 31. This Sunday is a blue moon. What's a blue moon? It means in a month, you'll have 2 full moons. This is so rare that you ever have this happen.
And when's the last time that's happened?
I honestly, I should have checked, but I didn't, so I can't answer your question, but people can Google it. But it's a very rare phenomenon. That's why it's called, when you're saying this happens, if something weird happens, you say, oh, that happened once in a blue moon.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And the definition of that is because you have 2 full moons in the same month. Okay, so we've
that
already
doesn't mean they're blue, right? It's not the color.
Yeah, it's just
blue.
a saying. It's just a saying, right? They use that. I don't know where the blue thing came from, but it's a saying they have that it's weird. And this blue moon is weird because it's called apogee, which means the farthest that it'll be the smallest one you've ever seen in years. So this is a very significant blue moon because it's not a big moon, it's a puny one. It's the smallest moon you could possibly have of a blue moon. And then the weird one is, this is like the cherry on top, okay? The number, that letter, the 17th letter, right? It's this weekend on the Julian calendar. And the prophecy is 17 is very important in what I will do. Now, so I'm just asking, things that make you go, or, I'm just asking questions. Okay. So my question to everybody is, what the heck is going on here? What is going on here that you've got these 6 celestial things that have been in the heavens? Like Revelation 12 was in the Bible for 2,000 years and 8 months. 8 years, 8 months, and 8 days is this weekend, and you got the blood moon, you got the moons, the Pentecost, that letter.
Revelation 12 was in the Bible for 2,000 years, and it happened on September 23rd,
2017. So it was written in the Bible 2,000 years ago on Patmos Island, and remember everybody thought they were going to get raptured, but God always told me these signs in the heavens, they're markers to start counting. Well, if there were like 3 numbers that are the most powerful numbers in the world, like the name of Jesus in Greek is 888, like you couldn't have a more powerful number sequence of 888. It's literally the Greek numeric sequence. It's right here. This is the numeric sequence for Jesus. Like, what is going on here? And if you do the math from the Revelation 12 sign, it is this Sunday, May 31, 2026, which is Pentecost, is when the glory fell upon the apostles and the church age was born from that day onward. So if there's a moment in time, Nino, this one is off the charts. This one goes back 2,000 years to encompass the Revelation 12 sign. Like, are you kidding me?
It all lines up.
Let all that sink in, and then I'm going to go from here. Okay, this prophecy is a friend of mine who I found a little while ago, about 2 months ago. She was introduced to me, and I did a podcast with her. Her name is Lori Bray, Bray. I did a podcast with her just 2 days ago. And this podcast was off the charts. You want to go to my channel, people, you want to go to YouTube, and it's called The Worldwide Wrecking Ball. You want to watch this video, but I'm going to play a 2-minute clip here, Nino. Man, I'm just telling you, get ready for what God is saying through her, what's about to manifest here. So I'm a messenger.
Why do you trust this? Well, I'm just going to ask a question. Why do you trust this lady? Why is she to you?
Because her prophecy. And that's a great question. Thank you. Because God anointed me to understand time. So I understand time. So when someone speaks prophetically, I look at them, what they're saying, and I look at the time patterns that they're revealing, okay? It's very important. And so like Kim Clement speaks about time patterns, okay? And his time patterns line up precisely with what God's shown me. He even said, Kim Clement says, you've been besieged by haters of America for 7 years. I will take you out of your besiegement, okay? So Kim Clement was a true prophet, and his time patterns are precisely what Lord showed me that we're in right now, and it's manifesting, and it literally ties into this 4th of July, okay? So when God speaks of time and the 7-year patterns, what they actually are their 7-year patterns based on not January 1, but they're 7-year patterns based on the covenant that was made, the Declaration of Independence, okay? So the 7-year pattern that's about to starts when? On the 4th of July. So the 7-year pattern that's about to starts when? On the 4th of July. We start 7 years of the greatest time in human history. Okay. So, but here's the thing is before what she's about to say happens, like, in other words, something's about to happen is what she's going to say. This leads us into a summer of like chaos, which you've been talking about. Okay. So it lines up, and you'll see when you listen to this, you're going to agree. You're like, wow, this is right on, because everything you have heard, God is speaking through her. So it lines up with your thoughts. You'll see in a second. And then it lines up with what happens into the September timeframe with Kim Clement and his prophecy. Okay. And then Kim Clement, Carolyn Dennis, she's right on track with her as well too. And then additionally, Kent Christmas, super anointed prophet. And she's on track with what he's saying. So people can scoff, but this is the real word of God, and we're going to watch the next few months. But this is a very powerful prophecy. So go and put it on the screen, and let's listen these 2 minutes. And I want your take on this after we're done. So here we go.
He says, my children, return to your homes. Stay locked in. The death angel is making his rounds. You have but one more millisecond, and the world will be in complete panic and chaos. Hearts will begin to fail. Lives will be changed forever. Things will never be the same as they are today. My power will be on full display. You will see changes in the sky and the land. The ocean will be overflowing into places I assign. I will dry up lakes and make new ones. Lake Michigan will change. The city of Miami will be gone. LA will be no more. My wrath has been kindled. It is time for retribution. It is time to settle the score. It is time to raise the weak and the poor. It is time to bring in more. I am your safe haven. I am your sure rock of refuge. My children, I will supernaturally protect you. I have a plan and a purpose for your life. I have your dreams to fulfill. Yes, all my promises will come to pass. You are walking into them this very moment. Take a look around. None of this will be the same. The sonic boom is about to hit, and it will shift plates and move things. My hand is controlling it all. It will go where I tell it to, and nothing will happen that I did not ordain. This is my day of reckoning. Just like in the days of Noah, they laughed and played, and they ignored all the warnings, and it was too late. So it is in this day and age, everyone chasing their heart's desire and ignoring my sovereignty, my son's death. He endured so much to set you free. There is so much more. There is no more time for blink, blink. This is it. I am setting things in order. Your lives will be much different, and you have a future so bright once you get through this wreckage. I worked it all out. Military will be brought in. The evil that is left will run and hide. I told you I was taking a wrecking ball to things. I have to tear down to build you new. You're getting a makeover, a whole new look. You'll be walking on sunshine soon. Do not leave where you are for 24 hours. You might want to consider 48 hours to stay out of the way. There will be much cleanup taking place. I know some of you will have to leave. Proceed with caution. Things will be in havoc for weeks into months. You'll have a rough start to summer, like my daughter said. And that was a previous word. Babylon is falling to the ground. No more return of that harlot. No more return of your current system. I have a new way for you to live. You'll live in freedom and righteousness. So take cover. Prepare your hearts. The great and terrible day is about to start, says the Lord of hosts, your Redeemer.
So this summer?
So she referenced the great and terrible day.
Summer, I guess, is what, June 21st?
Yeah, it's June 21st is summer, and God's going to birth something new. Remember, Revelation 12, which we said, Revelation 12 gives birth when, in my backyard, I got this cute little squirrel, little baby showing up. And my point is, animals and life gives birth. Flowers come up. Birthing season is spring. So if Revelation 12 gives birth, which he's going to, the mathematics are indicating it happens in spring, okay? So whether it's this weekend, next weekend, I don't care. It's going to happen before spring ends, okay? So like you said, before the 21st.
But you're saying this spring.
Yes. And plates will shift. What do you think's going to cause those volcanoes to explode?
I know, but
so my point is, okay, Isaiah 61, the year of the Lord's favor, and in the year, there's a day of vengeance. There's a 24-hour window. That 24-hour window is called the Great and Terrible Day, okay? I don't know what to tell you more than if everybody wants to be, like, let me ask, probably the better question, all your viewers, are you sick of being slaves to the system? Are you sick of having mortgages you can never pay off? Are you sick of having cars that that keep going up in price and you can never pay off? Are you sick of having credit cards that you can never pay off? Are you sick of having student loans, for $200,000, but you get $60,000 a year? Are you sick of being in bondage? Because what I'm describing to you is the Babylonian system that's enslaved you. So you better be praying that this happens, not throwing stones, praying that God moves. But God's going to move at his appointed time, okay? But what I showed you, just like things that make you go, how is it possible that all these celestial signs are pointing to this weekend onwards? It means that something new is about to happen, okay? That's all I know, and spring is the birthing, okay? So what I can say is this: spring ends the 21st of June. This weekend is May 31, so between May 31 and the 21st of June, which is where spring would end, we should see that day, that 24-hour window that you just heard the prophecy of, okay? Now, does Los Angeles get wiped out? No, I don't think. What I'm thinking is what God is saying is, because there's going to be massive flooding, so probably tidal waves and things are going to hit both Miami and Los Angeles, because California is saved, and so is America. But my point is, this 24 hours, regardless of whatever people want to say, you better pray that this 24 hours happens, or the globalists are going to keep doing what they do, and Trump's not going to stop them. This
is the hand of God moment.
Yeah, this is the chessboard that God shows up and that Trump's been playing with a beautiful hand, and then God just comes in and just knocks the entire chessboard over. And that's the problem.
Is what needs to happen. So Trump's setting up all the pieces. God comes in with the checkmate.
You're exactly right. That's what needs to happen. And then we step into this 4th of July. Remember, it was Moses who freed Israel. Guess how old he was? 80. You know how old Trump turns this June?
80.
Okay,
Damn.
He's going to free Babylon. He's going to free us from the clutches of Babylon.
I cannot believe he's going to be 80, man.
Yes, Moses was 80 when he freed Israel from Egypt. That's why he's a type and shadow of Moses and David. He's a type and shadow, and that's why this 4th of July will be the greatest celebration in human history, because God intervened, removed the Nephilim spirit. Yeah, there's going to be months of cleanup, okay? Because we're talking, there's a lot of people going to die because of what's about to happen, but this is the way. But God's also, don't be fearful, everybody, because just get on your knees and pray. God's going to protect everybody that needs to be protected. He's going to protect his children. And so we've done numerous podcasts about what we've talked about, okay? And the only word that hasn't happened is the 3-letter word called yet. You've heard the prophecy. I'm just telling you, you described it beautifully. Trump played the chessboard beautifully, and then God comes in and just wipes it out. But then they're going to freak out because remember, the demonic's still on here. They're going to blame it on the alien, because people are disappearing on this day.
Yeah, right. Rapture, aliens.
Yeah, yes. It's not the rapture. It's the reverse one. So they're going to hell.
Rapture, right.
Yeah, so they're going to hell, and then the alien, they're going to pull the alien card immediately. Why? Because they can't acknowledge that God exists. Because the devil, the devil's secret is he doesn't exist. See, he hides. He doesn't want anybody to know there's a devil, right? Because there's a devil, then there's demonic entities. So he hides in the shadows. And so immediately, if the world would realize that there's a God that did all this, then the devil's real too. So immediately they're going to pull the alien card on this day.
Masquerading as aliens. Yep.
Yeah.
Got it. Bo, thank you so much for joining me. This was an epic podcast. I'm sure everyone loved it and enjoyed it. Folks, like, share, subscribe. Where do they find you, Bo?
Website is gold2020forecast.com, and more importantly is my YouTube channel, where I literally load up regular videos all the time. So just my name, Bo, and then Polny, Polny. Nino, love you.
It started with silence, like heaven took a breath. Then the thunder rolled heavy, and the sky split wide. What we thought would never happen fell before our eyes, but we remain. Not one heart moved, the wind bowed low, the saints stood still. One day was all he needed. One word and the war was done. The wicked vanished like vapor, but the righteous faced the sun. The old world cracked and crumbled, but we stood inside his flame, and we'll never forget when the day came. The children woke in silence, like something shook their name. Their eyes were wide with wonder, but they felt no fear, no shame. The rulers raged and crumbled, still shouting as they fell. But evil had no refuge, not in earth or man or hell. And we remained. He called us by name. The earth exhaled and nothing was the same. One day was all he needed. One breath and the storm was still. He broke the chains with silence, and the air itself was filled. The fire fell without burning, and every soul knew his name. Yes, we'll never forget when the day came. We were the ones who remained, not lifted up, but left to stand. Not hidden, but seen. Not crushed, but claimed. The day didn't take us, it revealed us. And now, the harvest begins. One day was all he needed, just one to cleanse the land.